I was a yeller because I'm an entrepreneur, so I make all my own decisions. I'm a doer, I execute at a high level because if I don't do it, it doesn't get done. And then we had our first child, and then we're surprised with triplets on our second attempt. So I went from 1 to 4 kids overnight, and it was super overwhelming. I mean, it would be overwhelming for anybody, but especially for a type A woman who just do it because I said and be happy I asked. Like, I didn't have a lot of experience with kids. I didn't know a lot about psychology or how to reach them, or that state of mind of where you're starting with a blank slate, that this little being is depending on you for absolutely learning everything. So I was yelling a lot. My husband did say, honey, you're yelling a lot. But as we do, we justify that. Like, well, of course I'm yelling. I have 4 kids under 4 and a business and a husband who is in the military deploying. So of course I'm yelling. But then when my throat started hurting from yelling, my husband was very kind about gently telling me I'm yelling a lot. And then once he put that into my head, I started noticing it. And then it kind of culminated with my oldest just glazing over and looking at me with these big blue eyes. And like, the more I yelled, the more he just sort of detached and looked at me like, I can't, what are you doing? It was almost embarrassing for me. And then there's always the fact that yelling didn't do a single thing that I needed it to do. So I'm a quick study, right? So by the time my oldest was about 5 and the triplets were 2, I had them in a Montessori school and they were offering a parenting class. And in the Montessori practice, it's very about accountability and allowing kids the freedom within boundaries to make choices and to be accountable. And once I saw what they were capable of doing in the class, that I was not actually, I was doing all their laundry and making their lunches and doing everything for them and then pissed off that I was doing it, then I learned the Montessori way, started learning some tips and tricks and how to approach my kids in a different way, and then started studying behavior psychology. And so I went and kind of brushed up on child psychology and behavior. The funny thing is that as a salesperson, the parallel of how I approach customers and even how I approach my husband in a relationship is very similar into how you approach a child. The nuance is a little different, so you do have to learn. But for me anyway, early on, it was about trial and error. But the number one thing that I say is putting the mirror on yourself and going, I know I have to change. And that's where there's a big disconnect with, books and parenting, is that we are falsely told we have to change the child's behavior, when the truth is that the child is reacting to us. We think we're reacting to them, and then we're taught that we have to change the child, and that is not what works. So until we learn new ways and we understand that we have a problem and we show up differently to affect a different behavior or a different outcome, nothing's going to change.